Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our academic session for this morning. This morning we have the good fortune of welcoming Erin Patterson back. Erin Patterson as the Head of Research Services with the Vaughan Memorial Library. Erin is going to be speaking about information services, the library, and more. So Erin, on to you.
Thanks, Anna. Good morning, everyone. Welcome and thanks for coming. So my name, as Anna said, and as you can see on my slide, is Erin, and I'm the librarian, as well as being head of our librarians unit at the moment. I'm also the librarian for English, theater, music, French, German, Spanish, and art. So I get the good subjects, I think, but there is a librarian for every single subject at Acadia, no matter what you're taking. So if you're in kin or psych or bio, community development, business, there is a librarian specifically for you, which is probably the most important thing about this whole presentation, actually. But I'll come back to that. I'm from London, Ontario. I went to Waterloo and then Western. Yay, Western, home of a great big outbreak because of partying. 25 students that's up to now. That's bad. Anyway, I did my MA in English there, and then a master's degree in library and information science as well. And right now I'm at my house. I am on the North Mountain, kind of above Centerville, overlooking. I can actually see Acadia. I'm about a 25-minute drive away, but I can see Acadia from my house, which is sometimes kind of strange, but that's where I am. So again, thanks for joining. And what I wanted to say to start is if you're here, if you're in this session, that's a really good sign that you're probably going to do well at Acadia. And Anna, how many students do we have with us this morning so far?
So it looks like so far we have about a dozen students have arrived so far.
Okay, all right. So about a dozen, and people might come and go, but our first year cohort is about 1,000. So if you run the math there, that's a very small percentage of you who are here. So you're already in a good place just by being the kind of student that shows up to a session like this. And I hope that this session will give you even more of a leg up with what's going to be quite a quick overview of the academic information resources and supports available to you through the library and archives, but also elsewhere on campus. There'll be lots of time for questions at the end, like lots of time. This is not going to be a long presentation. And also, please feel free to ask questions anytime during the presentation. Ask me to repeat something or go back, whatever. Just do it in the chat. And Anna is going to be monitoring the chat so she can let me know if there's something going on, because I cannot monitor the chat myself and think and talk at the same time. I can do two things at once, but not three. So yes, please, questions anytime. So I wanted to just start with the library. And, you think library, you think books. True enough, we still have lots of books. I don't know how many, it's a lot. Books are great, really great. But we have so much more than just books. And, I could go on with a big long list. We have scholarly journals and historic newspapers and data sets and government documents, blah, 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 blah. We have all these things. I want to focus on the things that we're most known for. And we're most known in the library for three things: our digital resources, our study spaces, and our awesome, friendly, helpful staff. So our digital resources, I am just going to flip over to my browser. So that's the library homepage. They're pretty easy to find. When you go to the library homepage, there's one search box right there, smack in the middle. And that's what you can use for pretty much everything. So no matter what I'm looking for, I'm going to do Dracula. Everybody's going to have to take a first-year English course at some point or other. You just have to. You can't avoid it. And Bram Stoker's Dracula is a very commonly assigned text. So say you had to look up stuff on Dracula. You type in your subject, just using keywords. Google, you can say, hey Google, what is a good source on Dracula? The library search doesn't like full sentences and questions like that, just pick out your main topics, and that's just Dracula. So it's less typing too. And just hit search, and the results that you get here will become very familiar too. It might look a little whoa now, but we call this a bento box display, because there are all these little boxes. As you can see, there are 3 across the top, and then another set of 3, and then a few more at the bottom. And each box has different kinds of results. And it should be pretty obvious what kinds of results they are. So books are right up front. And if you want to get your hands on the book, you just click on the title. Articles, same thing. We don't have any databases entirely devoted to Dracula. Not a big surprise there. But that's all there is to it. So if I wanted to find, actually get my hands on this article about Dracula, I could just click on the title. And you can get help with this process at any time. So I'm not expecting everybody to memorize this. I just wanted to show you that it's not that hard. It's slow. That could be my home internet. It's a bit damp out, and I find my home internet does not like damp weather. So here it is. And right there, boom, full text available. So I should be able to click that link and bring it up. And unless there are any questions, that might be all I'm going to say about that, because that's pretty straightforward. So your search always goes there. Well, maybe I won't say everything about that. We do have print things too. So if I do the Dracula search again, let's find a nice book. So books, right up front and center. So this is by Bram Stoker. So that's the actual book Dracula. If I want something about Dracula, I'm going to choose something by somebody else. So let me go here, and no, I want to go with this one. This is a little more recent, 2003 instead of 1996. Because of COVID, the entire library building is not open to you. The main floor is going to be open as of Monday, but we keep most of the books upstairs or downstairs, and those floors are closed. So if you wanted to get this book, normally you could just make a note of this very complicated long call number here and go get it yourself. It's actually kind of easier for you now. We'll go get it for you. So all you do, there's a lot of stuff going on here, but I think there's something, yes, get it. So I would just sign in with my usual Acadia Central username and password, whatever you use for email and Acorn and everything. And it would ask me what library I want it delivered to. I'd choose us, Acadia. And then within 24 hours, you'll get an email saying your book is ready at the front desk. Please come pick it up. So I think students are actually going to love this, that we're going to go retrieve everything. So there are some upsides to COVID. But I was supposed to be talking about digital resources. I veered into the books there for a moment, but actually I didn't, because a lot of our books are also available online, and I think that was an example. Let's go back. Many of our books are print and online. Some are print only, some are online only, but I think I saw a link for this one. Wait. Here we go. Yeah, online access. And, oh, bummer. SMU, DAL, CBU. So when you are, I should mention, when you are doing that search for books and articles, you're searching all of NovaNet. So you're searching every post-secondary institution in the province. So you would want to see a CAD. That's our short form there. And usually that does come up, but for this one it didn't. But that's okay, because we've got the print. So I said that the library is known for 3 things in particular: our digital resources, our study spaces, and our staff. So study spaces, normally we can hold 500 students, and we're an extremely popular place to study on campus. With COVID restrictions in place, as I said, we're only opening the main floor, which means we're down to 80 seats. And because there are only 80 seats available in the library, we're asking students, requiring students actually to book their study space. And you can do that right from the library homepage. If I go back there, right here, schedule your visit. And you can book online, which is easy. And so you book your space, you show up for your space. There's a tap station outside the library where you'll tap your ID card for contact tracing in the unhappy event that we go the way of Western and have an outbreak. So far, we're doing great, everybody. Thank you. You'll tap your card, sanitize your hands, and then go right in the lobby. You'll see it at the front desk, and they'll give you like a little, I think it's like a little plastic tent card that says "I sat here." So you can go to your spot. You can choose your spot. You can go wherever you like, where nobody else is. But then when you leave the little tent card that says "I sat here" on your seat, so that when we close twice a day to deep clean the building, the custodial staff will know which seats to pay particular attention to, the ones that were used. So that's to protect you. Unfortunately, we can't have group study again because of COVID restrictions. But we'll see how things go in the winter term. But we have lovely group study rooms that you can usually book, and they're great because we do a lot of collaborative projects at Acadia in your classes. The rooms are still available, but just for one person.
So Erin,
yeah,
we have a couple of questions that are actually relevant to a few of the things you've talked about so far. Excellent. So the first one actually relates very closely to what you just talked about booking space for studying and such. So the question was, if we have back-to-back in-person and online courses, would we be able to do our online course at the library, especially if we are off-campus students who don't live in residence?
Yes, absolutely. I'm just getting a note that I have bad network quality. I'm going to turn off my video for a minute in case that helps. Hopefully that won't turn off my screen share. Okay.
No, your screen share's there.
Okay, great. No, that's a really good question. Yes, yes, you can. The first floor of the library has always been kind of a noisy space. Not really noisy, but we don't have any quiet rules. And everybody's got headphones now anyway. So yes, you could certainly use the library for that, as long as it doesn't stretch over into the cleaning period times. If I go to the schedule your visit thing, I think it will show you available hours. So there they are. So you can see our cleaning is between 12:25 and 1 and 3:25 and 4. So everybody does have to get out for that period of time. Does that answer the question?
Yeah, I think so. I have a follow-up just because I think this might be also relevant to people. How far in advance can you make those bookings? So in other words, if somebody knows that every day from 2 to 2:30 or whatever the time, I know I'm not talking about the cleaning time, so let's just pick a random time. Say that every day they knew they'd like to be in the library. Would they actually be able to book that time for several days in a row or for a few weeks in a row even?
That is a really good question, and I must admit that I don't know the answer. And I suspect probably not, just so one person can't, with such limited space that one person can't hog, a whole week's worth of, yeah, I'm sorry, I actually don't know the answer to that question.
Okay.
I will find out though. I will just, if you don't mind, I will just open up my email here and send off a message, and hopefully I'll get an answer back before we're done. And
I can also take note of the question, Erin, if you want. If you want to just leave it with me to take some notes for you, and then I can just pop them to you and then the other, I guess what I'll just say to that student also is one thing that I'm not entirely clear on, and I know this is separate from the library and from information services, but I know there are some places on campus that are kind of being designated as places people can be in between classes and so on. So that would be another thing that ideally we would ask that information be shared with students, is finding out what spaces are available for things like sitting to do an online class if you're an off-campus student. Yeah, but that's a separate question to you, Erin. But it's just a general question. I think that's relevant.
Okay. Yeah, and I'm not positive. I'm from the Irving Center again with distancing. The Irving Center tends to be a little quieter though. I don't know how. I'm going to shut my video off again. Oh, it's still off. And I'm still getting messages about poor internet quality.
Sound clear as day on our end. So
okay, great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And
the Irving Center tends to be fairly quiet. So I think if you were going to be actually speaking, or if you don't have headphones, so there'd be sound coming out of your computer, first floor of the library is not a bad bet. There is one quiet space on the first floor of the library. It's the quiet reading room. It can hold about, I think, 15 people. So if you do need quiet space, just FYI, that is there. But the rest of the library, unless you're being a real idiot, nobody's going to come and shush you. You can talk normally. Yeah.
Awesome. And then the second question that relates more to what you're talking about prior to that around searching and such. The other question was, do we have access to Jstor?
Yes, we do. Jstor is a huge database, and we can't afford all of it, but we do have access to most of it. So somebody knows what they're talking about if they're asking about Jstor. It stands for Journal Storage. It is a really good database because it's 100% full text, so you don't get frustrated by finding just, you know, something that says this article exists and then not being able to get the whole article. So it is very useful. So here we are. Jstor shows up in the databases bento box. The only problem with using Jstor is that it's an extremely small number of journals that you're searching. So there are much better places to find out what exists. We have subject-specific databases for every discipline. So if you're a business student, you're much better off to use a business database. Oh, for God's sake, I'm getting a phone call. No one ever calls anymore. Who calls? Right, there are better things to use to discover what is available to you. Jstor is excellent for getting to the full text. That's a little more advanced than I wanted to get into, but that's a good question.
All right.
Jstor, yeah.
Do you want one more question, or do you want to continue? Yeah,
no,
okay.
Bring it on.
Great. So another question was, how can we find the online or digital books in the library? Can we download them and use them offline?
Yes. Okay, so the answer is sometimes you can use them offline. So you would find them in exactly the same way we did the Dracula search. So let's do human kinetics for something different. I don't even know what that is. I hope it's a thing. All right. So 2014, there's a decent chance that that might be an online book. I can click on the title to see. And nope, I'm wrong. It doesn't say full text available, so that's just a print book. So there is a way to do it. This is a little bit, I find it a little bit complicated. You'll see in this bento, it's only showing 3 results. And if I want to see all of them, and I don't really want to see all of them, but I do want to be able to limit just to online, this is how you do it. So I'm going to go see all 1,412. And then over on the left-hand side, there are all these ways that you can drill down. And one of them is to limit to online books only. And it's a little bit weird. It is under location. So if I go to location and open that up, that's going to give me the print stuff. I need to go to, there we go, Acadia, a library, electronic material. So if I click that, it's going to reduce my set of 1,412 down to 49. And I'm just going to choose one. I don't care. And it says online access. Now again, oh no, I did limit to Acadia, so this should work. I'm off campus, so it wants me to log in. Just use normal, whatever you use for email, Acadia Central. And here we go. So I can get the PDF on my screen, EPUB, or yes, there is a full download option. The online books, we don't control them. We buy what's available, but the publishers get to say whether they want it to be available for download or partial download or no download. So it does vary depending on the publisher. But you can always ask, and if you ever have any trouble getting to this point, any trouble anywhere along the process, you can always just ask.
So as a sort of related question, from what I understand, Erin, from recent years and sort of different announcements I've seen around the library systems and such, you have a more formal relationship with the public libraries now, from what I understand. Is that correct?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, but that was more for community borrowers, not students, because general public isn't allowed to come into campus buildings yet. So that's what that was for. I'm going to see if I've got a response from Josh. I do not yet have a response from Josh, but I'll look again about the booking question.
So then going back to sort of for online books and such, do academic libraries, in particular ours, do they work in any way with any of those apps like Libby or other apps that interact with libraries and borrowing ebooks and such?
I don't think so.
No? Okay, thank you. I just was curious about that. Okay, do you want more questions, or do you want to keep going with your presentation?
I'll take more questions.
Okay, wonderful. So another question was, where can we see the full list of databases we have access to?
Oh, my goodness, you guys are super keen.
These are really great questions.
Gosh, I'm not sure I know. Hang on a second. Surely I can figure that out. Tell me there are no other librarians on the call, or I'm going to be really embarrassed. Full list of databases. I used to know how to do this. Ooh, that is a really, really, really good question. Well, let me try. No, that didn't work because we have way more than 8. Let me try one more thing. We used to have an A to Z list of databases. So let me try A to Z. No, that's not working. I'm not sure why you'd want to do that. I could understand wanting to see the full list of databases for your subject. So say you were music. If you type your subject in, you can get to the full list. So in the database box here, I got 19 that are all related to music one way or another. And I can see the full list there. Aha, that's how we do it. You could add subjects to get all of them. I think. Yeah, there they. But I think I'd have to click them off one by one. All? All. But I should have more than 19. But it's still just showing me the music ones. Ooh. Take out keyword music. There we go. Okay, that was a little circuitous, but we got there. I'm going to do that again, just for myself. What did I do? Yeah, so whatever, let's do biology this time. Whatever your subject is, go to the database box. This pulled up 37. We have a lot more relevant bio databases than music. It's a bigger program, bigger field. And if I click on see all 37, this is still just for bio. But then if I unclick bio over here, I will get all of them. And it's a pretty long list. So there, that's how you do that. Are there more questions?
There's one more so far.
Okay. All right.
So that one is, I'm taking my classes online from Manitoba. What do I do if a certain book I need isn't available?
And I presume you mean if it's not available online.
That's how I would interpret it. If Evelyn would like to follow up on that, but yes, I believe that that's what she would be asking about.
Okay, I'm going to put something in the chat here if I can. There it is. Oh, I got a different meeting chat. Anna, you're muted. Anna, you're muted. I couldn't hear what you said.
Yeah, so there's a little picture of a question mark at the top of your screen there, or somewhere on your screen. Do you see the question mark rather than just the chat area?
No, I don't. Let me go to the dots. Maybe, Anna, maybe you can put it in. That is a question to email, and the email address is access-circ@acadiau.ca.
Access-circ, S or CIRC?
Yeah, access-circ@acadiau.ca. I know we can take care of you, student in Manitoba.
Great. So Evelyn, she went by name, so that was great. So Evelyn, if you're still with us, which I hopefully you are, I've typed that email, access-circ@acadiau.ca.
Okay, well, thanks for all the questions. I'm going to go on to the third thing that the library is most known for, which is friendly, helpful staff. And you don't become a librarian or a library staff person because you don't like people. So everybody's wonderful. And the easiest way to get help is to go to the library homepage, type in help. Seriously, this works. And this time I want to scroll down to the bento box for the library website. And the first thing that comes up is ask for help. And it's all the different ways that you can get help. So in person, we are still open, email or phone, who does that anymore? The subject librarians, that is where all the subject librarians are. So there's a full list of us with all our different subjects. There's an email link. If the person happens to be actually live and has Microsoft Teams up and running, you can chat instantly with your librarian. I think most of us have that going. Yeah, it looks like there's me. So we're all there. I think this would also work in case you forget how to do that. Let's choose another subject. We haven't done business yet. No, let's not do business. Let's do kinesiology. The other way to get help is go to the bento box for subject guides, because there is also a subject guide for every single subject at Acadia. And it has all kinds of information, but one of the really useful things it's got is it's got a link to your librarian. And sometimes your librarian's adorable dog, Tippy. So that's how you can find your librarian that way as well. I'm just going to go quickly back to the help thing, because there's one other thing. Oops, that's not going to work. So I'm going to go down to the library website box, ask for help. We do have an online chat, which we will probably be making a little more prominent because of everything going on right now, but you can just say, hey, I need help or whatever. And some human being will be staffing that. I think it's between 10 and, I'm not sure. I don't want to actually push, hey, I need help, because I think it might be live right now. And the thing that I wanted to point out about this is staffed by librarians and graduate library students across the Maritimes. So you're not necessarily talking to an Acadia person when you do that, but we're cross-trained to help you to a point, no matter what institution we're at. But just be aware that you might be getting like the cow librarian at the agricultural college and not the business librarian at Acadia. And if necessary, we can refer you. So I think that's all I wanted to say about that. When I said those were the top 3 things, I do want to mention two more that we're also known for. And one of those things is printing. The library is pretty much the most reliable place to print on campus, and you can get help with that anytime. And that is also the only thing that you can just waltz into the library and do, is you can walk in, and instead of checking in to get your study space to the left, you can just go to the right. The printers, photocopiers, scanners are there, and it's you need your ID card to release your job. It's 10 cents a page. The other thing we're known for, and we can't really do it during COVID, but hopefully we'll be back to normal sometime soon and we can start doing it again. We do a lot of Destress events throughout the term. So, I was supposed to show that slide. That is me with the hat helping a student back in before days when we could do that kind of thing, getting face-to-face help. Those were the days, but we'll get there again. We do de-stress events. So we do yoga, Tai Chi, we've got Mario go-kart going on a big screen, puzzles and coloring, escape rooms. We just bought a giant, like, human-sized Jenga game, which we can't use. We often have therapy dogs. This is the most beautiful Saint Bernard ever. And last year we had therapy pigs, which was the most popular event ever in the library. And yes, they did pee on the carpet. So maybe we'll do that outside when we can do it again. We were going to have therapy goats last spring, but then COVID. So the library is a lot more than books. So I'm just going to pause there before I go on to talk about the archives and special collections for a very brief couple of minutes. Are there any questions, Anna?
There are no more questions.
Okay. So the library is not just the library. We also have, that's not supposed to be there. Well, we'll do this. Other resources on campus. I'm being dictated to by my slides. We have, in addition to the library and the librarians, we have a writing center on campus. That has gone virtual this year, and it's a peer tutoring center. So it's, other highly successful students who have also been trained in helping you with writing, which a lot of us need help with. So the writing center is available. You can just Google Acadia Writing Center, and you can do online bookings. There is the Math and Statistics Help Center, or MASH, which is not just for math and stats classes, because even if you're a humanities student, if you're in Soc, you're going to have to do stats. So chemistry, business, economics, sociology. Anna, can you think of any others that would need MASH help maybe?
I think you've covered a lot of them.
I think that's it. There's also a physics help center, and I couldn't find an appropriate slide for that. So that's a picture of me and my 5-month-old puppy, who's so cute. Anna, do you want to speak to the physics help centers? And that's your thing.
Yeah. So what we normally do is we have a room that we have the help center on some afternoons and evenings every week, and it's usually set up as kind of a drop-in physical space. This year, or not necessarily this year, but this semester, it's not going to be in person. It's going to be fully online, but we have a team set up that the tutors will be in the team and in a meeting in the team, and they'll be able to access that assistance that way. So it's open to anyone who's taking a 1000 level physics course at Acadia.
Thank you. There are also other help centers that operate much like the physics center, but they too will be going online. I know French, German, Spanish usually have them. I'm not sure if they have the staffing to do it this year. Bio, computer science, chemistry, and economics. Those are all peer tutoring. So you could always just ask your prof. And that's the other thing I wanted to make a point of too. Information resources on campus, your professor. Please don't be afraid. And a lot of students are terrified to go approach their professor after class or to approach them during their virtual office hours. Please don't do that. I would highly, and actually the students that are here are probably going to be the ones that are okay with that. It's really, really great. Your prof will get to know you as a human being sooner, which is always a nice thing. And they're again, people don't become professors because they don't like students, even though some of them might seem kind of formidable. But please don't hesitate to ask your prof. And some classes also have teaching assistants or TAs, and they're there to help you too. So there are a lot of resources like that. I'm going to go back to the quick overview of archives, unless there are any questions about the other peer tutoring services.
No, I think you can go ahead with archives.
Okay, yay, archives and special collections. I don't have too much to say about archives and special collections, except if you are in a class that gets to work with this stuff, you are a lucky student. There is so much cool stuff in our archives and special collections. It's not all old stuff. I took some pictures. These are all actually from our archives and special collections. So it is a lot of, you know, cool old things. This is a newer thing. This is the Thistle, and this is from 1893, and it's a student newspaper. It was the Acadia Ladies Seminary newsletter. It was called the Thistle, and they produced one handwritten, and in this case, hand watercolored issue, each one edited by a different student. So that's pretty cool. We also have a lot of photographs down there, a lot of historic photographs of Acadia and the Annapolis Valley. This is the Acadia Ladies Seminary Physical Culture, aka gym course from 1900, or maybe 1901, but it was the 1900-1901 school year. This is 1947, and this is first, I guess, second year students maybe, arriving back in September on the train in Wolfville from Digby. So it's really wonderful to be able to come in person to the archives and special collections, and you still can by appointment. We are still open, but we, as you can see, we have digitized a ton of stuff too. So yeah, I don't want to go on and on, because I obviously could, but I'll stop there, I think, just to let you know that they exist, and an incredibly rich, interesting resource with a lot of possibilities for research.
So we do have a question, Erin.
All right.
So this question is, are there any volunteer positions through the library?
Sadly, no. The university has not the library, but the university has a policy on volunteers. And unless it's a required part of an academic program, we are actually not allowed to have volunteers. We do hire student assistants. Not so much this year because of COVID. We are bringing back a few from last year, but normally we're the biggest employer of students on campus. We don't generally hire first-year students, but hopefully next year maybe things will be back to normal, and we usually have something like 20 student assistants doing different things in the library.
Can you tell us a little bit? Can you tell us a little bit about how many hours a week they normally work, and also what kinds of jobs they are doing in the library?
I don't know about how many hours a week. Sorry, because I don't actually have any student assistants in my chunk of the library. But a lot of it is running around reshelving stuff. So that's not happening this year because no one's allowed in the shelves except staff. We have people, like when books come in and need processing, we hire students to put barcodes in them, and tattle tapes, which is the magnetic strip that makes the alarm go off if you walk out without getting a book, or a roll of toilet paper, desensitized. We used to put tattletale strips in the toilet rolls too years ago because people used to steal them all the time. So yeah, there's a lot of work in that. Interlibrary loans, which is when we get books from other libraries, which we can do for you. That's in I showed you early on in this presentation how to request a book from our collection with the Get It thing, where you just click Get It. You can also request books that come up in our system from other libraries doing exactly the same thing. And we have students that work on processing those things. And I think we sometimes actually have student assistants in the archives and special collections, which is absolutely the coolest job ever. And so many of those student assistants do actually go on and go to do a master's in library and information or archival science because they like it so much. But sadly this year, no.
Thank you, Erin. There's no other questions right now, so if you want to continue.
Well, that is actually the end of the presentation. I just wanted to return by thanking you for coming and to also remind you to get help when you need it. There is no, I've been at Acadia for 20 years and things change, like technology changes a lot. I was just gonna stop sharing my screen for this last little minute. There's some weird feedback there. There we go, we're back to me. Technology changes, rules change, materials change, students change. One thing that has never changed in all these 20 years that I've been doing this, I have never, ever, ever had a stupid question, ever. Not even close. And so many students will preface their question by saying, this is probably a dumb question, but, and it's like, no, guarantee that's actually probably the best question ever. The ones that people think are stupid questions. It usually means that we have overlooked something and made something harder than it needs to be. So I really appreciate those questions. We use them to improve services, to make our website easier to use, to make things more accessible. So please don't ever hesitate to ask for help. No one is ever going to make you feel like you've asked the wrong question or asked the wrong person. That's it.
All right, well, I don't see any more questions appearing. I'm glad you continued just to close the session there because I thought maybe there'd be some more questions appearing, but it doesn't look like there are. So I just want to say thanks again, Erin, for being here and having such an informative session for us and for sort of just generally being great to have here on the screen. And I'm sure that the students are looking forward to meeting you in person one of these days.
Me too. I really am.
All right. Well, thanks, everyone. I hope you all have a wonderful day and wishing you all the best next week when classes start.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.